The other part, talking about the balance of payments, is America's military spending. The entire U.S. balance of payments deficit that forced America off gold in 1971 was caused by the foreign military spending. The United States has spent an enormous amount of money for supplying the 800 military bases around the rest of the world, and that is leading to a weakness in the dollar. And the whole source of strength of the American empire's ability to domineer Europe, the global South, other countries, was the strength of the dollar. It no longer has the strength of the dollar. It's become not only a debtor country, but it's built up. So as it's been pumping dollars into foreign central banks, it's become obvious to other countries that instead of becoming the financially wealthiest country in the world, it's a net debtor, and there's no way that America can pay its foreign debts to foreign central banks and foreign governments that keep their national wealth funds in the United States. So other countries are beginning to realize this. They can calculate what's America's trade surplus, how much earnings does America get each year, what is the source of revenue, what is it spending abroad, immigrants, remittances, military spending, and it realized that America's going to run up more and more debt that it can pay. How do we avoid the situation? Why are we investing in treasury bond, our economic surplus that we're getting, our export surplus? Why do we lend it to the government that is going to spend it on making military bases all around us so that it can divide China into 5 countries, divide Russia into anywhere from between 4 and 20 countries? Why are we financing America's military attack on us? Why don't we de-dollarize? And that's been the discussion now for 2 years, de-dollarization. Well, if other countries do not wind down their holdings of dollars, if they replace them with gold, and what is going to be in October of 2024, something like a BRICS currency or a BRICS market basket of currencies without the dollar, this is going to mean that foreign transactions, if India and the near Saudi Arabia have a deal in oil, they're not going to do it with dollars anymore. Other countries are going to free themselves from dollars, and you're having gold play a larger and larger role. The dollar is still a very strong proportion of other countries' holdings because they realize it's strong because America has the atom bomb. But the dollar is the atom bomb. That's what it is. America can't invade another country because it doesn't have troops. There's very little that it can do except terrorism and regime change to try to prevent all of this. And other countries are now figuring out, how do we get free of all this? And America, by sanctioning Russia, by sanctioning China, by having Europe isolate itself and isolate the West from Russia and China and countries that do things in a different way, this has forced these other countries to produce for themselves instead of importing from the United States or its allies. So the sanctions have strengthened Russia, have strengthened China, have strengthened Iran. And the sanctions are now, instead of isolating the rest of the world, countries that do things that America doesn't like, all of a sudden Americans have found out, wait a minute, we've isolated ourselves. We're all alone. And if nobody wants our dollars, what can we give them for in exchange for what they produce? We're not producing anything, and there's no way that we can produce anything as long as our economy has so much rent overhead, so much debt overhead, so much financial overhead, so much monopoly overhead that we can't compete with any other country. We're all by ourselves. That means that there's going to be a financial crisis here, that corporations will go under. They realize that the end of their world is near. But for them, this is the end of the world, because that's their tunnel vision perspective. And they won't talk about it because it's so unpleasant. It's like, most people of Richard and my age don't like to talk about death. Upsets their wives to do that. Well, that's how America feels about the fact that the system is self-destructive. Finance capitalism is self-destructive. So it's not that other countries have decided to go communist and break from the United States and be anti-American. America destroyed itself, its own economy, and by destroying its own economy, by financializing it, instead of continuing to industrialize itself, it's deprived itself of any leverage over the world except its military leverage and bribery. It can use all these dollars to bribe, and it's easy to bribe a Western European politician. I mean, their corruption, their whole idea of bribing is corrupt. To them, it's not corrupt. It's how you get advanced. How you get, it's not corruption that we're getting from this non-government organization. It's support for what we're doing for ourselves.
It's funny though, because I think in the West, we have it the other way around, where we say, oh, it's the Eastern politicians that thrive on bribery.
Well, but if it's bribery, it's interpersonal bribery. You'll bribe a policeman or something. But America has made bribery a part of the National Endowment for Democracy's funding. It's our foreign policy is bribery, basically, and coercion, and sometimes more violent terrorist means of just assassination, like we did in Chile for Allende, and like all sorts of unexplained, unfortunate disappearances.